to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Eric Chilton and Taheshah Moise, who are both at home this afternoon. We are practicing our social distancing, but we want you to remember that our show is still interactive. We are live streaming right now on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. You can join our conversation in the comment section and use our hashtag 4 to 5. Well, new this afternoon, Dr. Maddie from the Department of Health says North Carolina is making progress when it comes to COVID-19. The number of cases in our state is still increasing, but she says that's because more testing is happening. Dr. Cohen says North Carolina can start moving into phase 1 of reopening next week. Now, in phase 1, the stay-at-home order stays in place, but people can leave their houses to go to work. Working from home, though, is still encouraged. Businesses and stores will need to make sure employees follow social distancing guidelines, and they'll need to clean more. Gatherings with more than 10 people are not allowed, and face coverings are still recommended when you go out. Nursing homes and other congregate living facilities are under strict restrictions. And while we may be closer to reopening, Governor Roy Cooper says right now we still need to do our part.
Our job is to do what we know works right now. Keep our physical distance, sanitize, stay at home.
Well, one North Carolina county wants to reopen despite Governor Cooper's stay-at-home order, but they say they will still enforce the state's order. In a largely symbolic move, Gaston County says they support businesses who want to reopen, but they're still going to enforce the governor's order to remain closed. Now, the county says businesses can reopen if they follow social distancing. That includes restaurants and movie theaters. They say gyms can even reopen if they follow strict social distancing and clean more often. But again, at the same time, they say they will still enforce the state's stay-at-home order. Governor Cooper's office released a statement. They said this order only creates confusion during a public health emergency, and state leaders urged people in Gaston County to follow that statewide mandate. Well, some businesses may soon open back up in North Carolina as May 8th approaches. That's when Governor Cooper's stay-at-home order expires. State health officials say getting back to normal still depends on data, but for both employers and employees who look to returning to work, things won't be completely normal. Some Triad legal experts say folks need to prepare to avoid complications in the workplace.
They need to have a policy about social distancing, masks, as well as looking at their, if they have a sick or paid time off policy, what that is.
If you see that your employer is prepared and has been thoughtful and thought through these processes, that goes a long way in helping employees feel comfortable.
According to the North Carolina Department of Labor, there is currently no occupational safety and health standard about COVID-19, but under the Occupational Safety and Health Act of North Carolina, it is the employer's duty to provide a safe work environment.
The state legislature passed a coronavirus relief bill of more than $1 billion. Now, that money will help fund coronavirus testing expansion and government agencies that are having a hard time keeping up during the pandemic. The House Speaker Tim Moore told our CBS News affiliate in Raleigh that the main goals are this: to aid small businesses, waive requirement for interest on taxes that were due on April 15th, extend the deadline for car inspection renewals, and allocate an additional $1 billion in federal funding. The House will vote today on the bill.
So over 3 million people across the United States applied for unemployment just within the last week. Now, according to Labor Department, there are more than 30 million that have applied in the last 6 weeks. The numbers are staggering here. This means that 1 in 6 workers are without a job, and number of weekly filings actually been slowing down since nearly 7 million applied for benefits toward the end of March. Forecasters now predict the unemployment rate could reach as high as 20%. That would be the highest rate since the Great Depression. Unemployment rate then was 25%.
School leaders across the state are looking toward next school year. State Superintendent Mark Johnson says the state now has a schools reopening task force. The group will focus on improving remote learning, and they will also work to close the learning gap that was created while students are out of schools. Johnson says the goal is to get students and staff back inside buildings in a safe way until we have a vaccine. Let's take a look now at your 4 to 5 roundup. UNC Greensboro has a special graduation gift for their seniors. They're giving away free basketball tickets for the entire 2020-21 men's and women's basketball season. The season tickets are courtesy of University Village. Seats will be given out on a first-come, first-served basis. UNCG seniors can claim those season tickets by checking their UNCG email account. Well, starting Monday, people in Greensboro will have a modified yard waste collection. The city will come collect every other week. They say they will make sure to follow social distancing guidelines by only having 1 worker in a truck instead of 2. Now listen to this. You can only have 10 bags, bundles, or cans of yard waste that are less than 50 pounds, and your limbs have to be shorter than 5 feet. Have them on your curb by 7 o'clock in the morning. Well, could man's best friend help us fight the coronavirus? The University of Pennsylvania is looking into if dogs can smell whether someone has COVID-19. Now, this could cut down on community spread by identifying patients who may not be showing symptoms. Dogs are exposed to a COVID-positive saliva and urine sample in a lab for 3 weeks. And then once they're familiar with that odor, researchers will see if they can tell the difference between a positive and a negative sample. Well, it has been 1 year since the shooting at UNC Charlotte. Today at 5:10, the school is holding a virtual ceremony to remember the 2 students who were killed, Riley Howell and Reed Parlier. It will also honor their classmates who were in the classroom that day.
Top infectious disease specialist Dr. Anthony Fauci says that the antiviral drug remdesivir is showing promise. He says that the data shows right now that the antiviral drug can shorten the recovery time for people who have coronavirus. The recovery time has been cut from 15 to 11 days for those using that drug. Now, the trial included more than 1,000 patients globally, and that drug is given through an IV for 10 days. But it was only tested in patients who are sick enough to be hospitalized, so that is something to keep in mind here. In trials, there was only an 8% death rate. Fauci says this is better than the placebo group, which had an 11% rate.
The data shows that remdesivir has a clear-cut, significant positive effect in diminishing the time to recovery.
Fauci says the drug still needs more research, but adding he is sharing his optimism because there's an ethical obligation to let the placebo group know they stand a stronger chance with the experimental drug.
All right, forecast. We are looking at some decent temperatures, aren't we? 63 degrees in Winston-Salem, 64 in Greensboro. Hey, High Point, you are at 68 so far. We see 64 in Reedsville and Walnut Cove as well. So looking into the night tonight, you still see cloud cover. We may see a sprinkle or two. We really can't rule that out even into tomorrow. But temperatures a good bit cooler, aren't they? 48 for the overnight low tonight, 64 tomorrow, and we're going mostly cloudy for your Friday as well. Notice the cloud cover out there. Let's take you out wide and we'll look at the entire region, really, the whole state. The front is now moving off the coast. That moved through with those thunderstorms. Lots of people without power, myself included, overnight for a little bit. And some of this, there's some residual moisture. You can see it on the left side of the screen up there. That accounts for that slight shower chance. Now, heading into the weekend, we'll talk about this in a minute. Absolutely perfect for Saturday and Sunday, and really into Monday as well. So we'll have more on that coming up with more on the 4 to 5.
Mike. Yeah? That's what it is? Is there an issue? Ah. A cool update to a story we brought to you last week. A local artist tribute to healthcare workers is now on the move. Jenna Rice is the artist behind this mural in High Point. Now, the design was then used on a t-shirt, but now the project is larger than life. It's turning into a mobile thank you card.
The idea originally just came from, kind of just wanting to paint something.
Jenna Rice never expected her art to get the praise it has.
One of my friends called me and she's like, hey, do you want to go to the pit, go to High Point to go paint?
That was in early April, and this was the finished project, a mural dedicated to healthcare workers.
I want them to know that we care and that we're rooting for them and they're all our heroes in this battle we're fighting against the coronavirus.
Her mural caught the eye of Maury Kennedy's team, who was raising money to feed healthcare workers at Cone Health in Greensboro. Rice's mural was then used on the backs of t-shirts given to those who donated to the Feed the Frontline campaign.
We're all in this together, and we want our healthcare workers to know that.
Rice then agreed to recreate the mural on a panel that would travel to different hospitals. But Greensboro developer Maddie, who planned to sponsor the project, had another idea.
He said, I have this really large box truck. You could paint on that and then park that in front of the hospital and then maybe be able to park it in front of other hospitals as well.
So with spray can in hand, she went to work. She finished the display on the 24 by 7 feet truck in just 3 days with some slight changes from the original.
I kind of wanted to challenge myself, and I thought that it would be really cool if I might be able to pull off a photorealism piece instead.
Those who donated to the Feed the Frontline campaign will then have their names written on the back of the truck. The truck will serve as a mobile thank you card since it will be used to transport the donated meals.
And we want them to feel appreciated and loved for what they're doing for us.
Then on the other side of the truck, you will see this, another mural painted by local artist Ramin Bardwash, Superheroes Fighting a Virus. He says that's exactly what our real-life heroes are doing.
The whole world is looking up to them for saving the world, and when they are going through dark times, I think this is going to really brighten their day.
So that truck will be unveiled tomorrow at noon at Burger Warfare. That is where the meals are going to be from for the healthcare workers. Jenna says that she plans to paint an inspirational message on the top of the truck so that when it is parked at a hospital, those on a higher floor will be able to see that message as well.
That is amazing. Well, speaking of superheroes, Mattel is launching a Thank You Heroes toy line. The dolls honor frontline workers who are working to take care of us during this pandemic. The toy line includes 16 action figures that represent doctors, nurses, EMTs, and delivery drivers. The proceeds will go to the First Responders First. That's a fund that supports first responders and healthcare workers. Now you can pre-order the toys through the end of May on MattelPlayroom.com. They each cost $20. And again, all that money is going to help first responders, Eric.
Well, money well spent. I think that's great that Mattel does this. Also, not just raising money for that cause, but also what we teach our kids of who the real heroes are and all this. We can say it over and over, but that really relates to a child.
Yeah, and the representation when they have a healthcare worker, a delivery driver in their toy box, and then they ask, later on down the road, well, what about this? And you say, well, back in 2020, they kept our economy afloat. They took care of all of us when we were going through a tough time.
Yeah, they might actually go up some little kids now asking them to autograph their dolls. Can you imagine?
I like that. I like that. All right, well, we are headed to break, but we are still live on WFMY News 2's Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Join our conversation there.
You know, setting yourself apart from others is a battle these days, especially when it comes to small businesses. Well, a wine shop has entered into uncharted territory this year, and it's paying off. Take a look at what's happening at Rioja Wine Bar in Greensboro.
This wine is 100% Chardonnay.
I tell you, we see virtual everything these days, but this one may top the cake. And Jake's with us from Rioja. Tell us about this. So it's kind of like it's like a game show you're doing here.
Right, thanks, Eric. What we're doing is a blind wine tasting with wine and food trivia. We taste the wines together virtually on Zoom. Then we use our interactive technology to introduce a trivia component. It's all multiple choice, and it gets pretty competitive. I told you, you're going to have to look out. I'll get you.
Oh, so mad.
We try to engage our guests. At the same time, we're incorporating a little bit of wine education. And, we're tasting wine, which is really hard work. But it's got to be done.
I feel so bad for you. You'll get no sympathy from me. So basically, with this, so they're competing. They're just competing for bragging rights, no prizes, right? But they do have to stop by your shop and get the wine, so everybody's sampling the same wine, I guess.
That's right. The wines are available to purchase in our online store. Then we offer contact-free curbside pickup. The wines are wrapped and numbered. Then you receive a confidential email with instructions and details on how to solve the mystery.
You don't know which is which as well, right?
That's right. We also participate in the experience. So as a group, we try to break these wines down and analyze them, and then we try to figure out what's in the glass.
I love it. It's very different. It's very cool. Jake, thanks so much for taking time out. And the next one is tonight, so everybody can get ready for that.
Yeah, so look, I mean, everybody's getting pumped about this. They have done this right. I don't know if you noticed, Maddie, but even just like their graphics, they use a third-party piece of software, a website, so people can chime in and vote in real time. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's
very engaging, Eric, because as I was watching your story, I was playing along. I was like, Manchego is a Spanish cheese. Vote for Spanish cheese. So I do think that they really have a good one here. Again, another example of businesses just innovating and redoing their business model overnight to adapt.
Absolutely. I think what's going to happen is we're going to see some of these things that people have come up with. They won't go anywhere. I think they'll stick around.
Yeah, I hope so. That looks fun. All right, we are heading to break, but we are sticking around as well on Facebook and on YouTube, so join our conversation there.
East Tennessee State University. Actually, the two. Hey, mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. We are live outside for the first time in what feels like an eternity. Mic check 1 2. Okay, sounds good. 2 minutes on the break.
Hello, mic check 1 2 3 1 2 3 4.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. It is the start of a new beginning for Wake Forest basketball. The program announced they found a new head coach after they fired Danny Manning just a week ago. WFMY News 2 sports anchor Luke Liddon is live in Winston-Salem with more on this big announcement.
Yeah, Maddie, after Danny Manning was fired this past weekend, Wake Forest athletic director, John Curry, said he wanted to make this new hire as swift and efficient as possible, and they did exactly that as they found their new man and head coach Steve Forbes. He comes from East Tennessee State University, and actually the two have a relationship, a friendship, I guess you could say. That means John Curry and Steve Forbes. They actually met back when he was an assistant at the University of Tennessee when Curry was an administrator. Most recently, though, Forbes leaves East Tennessee State, where he compiled an impressive 130-43 record, winning 2 Southern Conference titles and earning 2 bids to the big dance. It's success like this that hopefully can translate over to the Demon Deacons in the years to come, because remember, the Deacs have only made the NCAA tournament twice in the last decade. Here's hoping this new hire can slowly turn things around, hopefully in the near future. And we, of course, will have much more on this new hire coming your way on WFMY News 2 at 5 and 6 o'clock, so be sure to keep it right here on WFMY News 2.
Luke, thank you. Well, North Carolina's social distancing grade fell to an F. Yeah, our state did have a D in reducing mobility, according to the UNCC, for how well we are doing social distancing. But again, now we have an F. That means non-essential visits are under less than 55%. UNCC uses geospatial movement to show non-essential visits.
But I wanted to hear your opinion and, how well do you think the state is doing at social distancing, and maybe what grade would you give it? So let's get into some of your comments today that you posted on my Facebook page. Michelle writes here, I can see that definitely, referring to the F grade of North Carolina. People are not being respectful of each other's space much at all. I've been shopping at Trader Joe's for most of my needs, and it's the only place I feel has been super good about it. Melissa writes, I can't grade my area because I stay in except for groceries, trash out, and mail. I don't see many people out where I live, and the restaurants are only drive-through where I go. So I kind of see both sides of the argument here. I can see why North Carolina is getting that F grade in some of our areas. I notice myself when I go to stores, people really aren't giving that 6 feet of space. So I think if we are able to do that and keep those essential trips as our guide here, maybe we can not fail anymore.
All right, we're taking a look at our forecast as we head into the night. Some changes for us, and one thing you'll notice is all the rain, the thunderstorm activity, that's moving off the coast. That continues on to the east. And then if you look back to the west, we still have a little bit of wraparound moisture on the backside of that low pressure system. That will move in. So you can't rule out a sprinkle really tonight or tomorrow, I don't think, as that entire frontal boundary tries to move by. Now, cooler air on the backside of that, however, that high pressure starts to build in from the south, and it does just the opposite as it starts to warm things up. Just give us another day or so. In fact, I think for the weekend, and that graphic you're looking at there, that's Saturday afternoon at about 4 p.m., we're going to warm up heading into the second half of the day Saturday and the entire day on Sunday and Monday too. So overnight lows tonight at 48 degrees with that stray shower, at 64 on Friday. But focus on that weekend. Sunny to partly cloudy, 75 Saturday, 83 on Sunday. Just beautiful. A little rain back in the mix for Monday and Tuesday, and highs will drop to 80 Monday, back down to the upper 60s for Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay. It's in Guilford County. Okay. Okay, I'll take it out. I have to do a mic check because I'm going live in 2 minutes, so I will call you right back after. All right. I don't know if I'm still. Oh crap! I just hung up.
That's all right. They're asking for mine. Go ahead and talk.
Okay.
I'll add you after.
The executive director here at the YMCA, the Camp Weaver YMCA, says they're optimistic. They may still have camps here.
Mic check 1 2 3 4. Mic check 4 to 5. Mic check 1 2. All right.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever.
Good afternoon and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Eric Tilton and Taheshah Moist this afternoon. Remember, this is an interactive newscast. We like to say it's a two-way street, right, guys? Because we talk to you, but we want to hear back from you. So we are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Join our conversation and use our hashtag 4 to 5. Well, let's get you caught up this afternoon with your 4 to 5 roundup. 6 Triad Goodwill stores will reopen tomorrow. They say they have new safety policies and guidelines in place to protect you and their employees. Goodwill wrote a letter to Governor Roy Cooper's office asking to be named an essential business and giving them the ability to reopen their retail stores. The governor granted that request. Stores will reopen in phases, and some stores in Greensboro, Archdale, Mayodan, and Burlington will open to shoppers tomorrow. California's governor will order all beaches and state parks to close tomorrow after tens of thousands of people flocked to the shore last weekend. In Newport Beach, 80,000 people were on the beach over the weekend. Although lifeguards said social distancing guidelines were followed, not all agreed. Governor Newsom said beachgoers were an example of what not to do if the state wants to continue the progress fighting the coronavirus. Today, the U.S. Navy hospital ship USNS Comfort left New York City and is now making its way back to Virginia. The ship spent a month in harbor helping take care of patients and ease the burden of COVID-19 on city hospitals. The crew treated 182 patients, 70% of them were COVID positive. Roughly 700 military members will stay in New York to help relieve healthcare workers.
Hey, you know, WFMY News 2, we are helping families give seniors a reason to smile. I love this. This is our senior shout-out section, and we're asking you to send pictures of your graduating seniors so we can honor all of their accomplishments. So let's take a look at who we're talking about today. First up is Ashlyn Trotter. Ashlyn's the president of the Beta Club and Chorus program at Southwestern Randolph High School, also a part of the youth group at the First Baptist Church of Asheboro. Ashlyn plans to attend UNC Chapel Hill in the fall, where she will study human development and family studies. Next up is Mahogany Day. Mahogany is a senior at Middle College at Bennett. Her family describes her as a very outgoing young woman who consistently strives to better herself. Good for her. Spring Gray is a senior at Wheatmore High School, part of the Beta Club and National Technical Honor Society. She's also a member of the swim team sophomore year. She's going to UNCC in the fall. If you want to share senior shout outs with us, just look for the submission form. It's on our website. Submit the photos of your senior, but not professional ones. We can't use those. Send us just your photos that you've taken, basically. Send us their name and their school, and also a personal message with your shout out.
I think this is my favorite part of our shows this week, Eric, when we get to kind of relax a little bit and talk about the accomplishments of these great teenagers in the Triad.
I know. I feel so sorry for them. I know they're not going to go through it the normal route here, but they will have something to tell their kids and grandkids. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully they will get some kind of day to commemorate their achievements and some kind of graduation ceremony, even if it's virtual or anything like that. But just know that a graduation ceremony, it doesn't mean anything other than just a nice little bow to put on things. What matters is the last 12 years that you've worked so hard. And as we see in these senior shout outs, they've been working hard.
Yeah, absolutely. They're super involved teens, and it's just 2 thumbs up for all of you guys. You're going to make it through this, and you'll be better on the other side.
Yeah, Eric, every time I hear about a future Tar Heel, I'm like, yes, go Heels.
Yes, me too. Me too.
Summer camps are set to start in a couple months, but camp organizers aren't sure if they'll even have any sessions this year. WFMY News 2's Itanise McMiller is live outside Camp Weaver to see how and when they plan to make a decision.
The executive director here at Camp Weaver says they are optimistic. He says that camps are an option, whether they shorten the length of camps, allow less children, or hold them virtually. I spoke to one parent who says she's concerned about her child's safety if camps open. Camps are part of summer culture for many children. It's where they get to spread their wings and grow.
I wanted her to do something where she felt a little bit more like summer, where she was kind of maybe learning something but also having fun.
This mother decided to unenroll her daughter from camps at the Greensboro Science Center. And we asked the Science Center what their plans are. They say they're waiting on guidelines from the CDC.
But even if the Science Center is open come, June 15th, I personally feel like that's too soon.
Executive Director of Camp Weaver, Jamie Kassan, says they understand parents' concerns. Kassan says he and camps across the triad are meeting regularly to decide what's the safest thing to do.
CDC is creating some guidelines for overnight camps, which we anticipate those guidelines to come out in the next week.
Kassan says they're also in constant contact with the State Department of Health and Human Services and the American Camp Association, who is working with medical professionals to create educational resources for camps to use.
What they're working on is healthcare procedures. So what does screening look like to do the best we can to keep out the virus?
Kassan says they're waiting on guidance from all 3 agencies before they make a decision. And staff here at Camp Weaver say that children's safety will definitely come first, and they say that they are ready to follow the guidelines and procedures recommended by professionals.
And much calmer forecast than what we had in the last 24 hours. It was a mess. Power outages all over the place in the overnight hours, lightning and strong winds, but things are calming down for us, thank goodness. Let's look at these temperatures. This is good. 64 degrees in Greensboro, 68 in High Point, 63 in Winston-Salem. Walnut Cove, you're at 64. The short-term forecast tonight, overnight lows at 48 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. You can't rule out a sprinkle. There's some of that moisture that's wrapping around the backside of that low pressure. We get a little bit of that tonight and tomorrow, but it shouldn't be anything to cause any problems. Tomorrow's high temperature, going up to 64 degrees. It is high pressure that moves in and warms us up as we head into the weekend. What a great weekend. Make your plans here, even if it's just out in the backyard. 75 degrees Saturday, 83 on Sunday. Beautiful days, lots of sun. Have some rain moving in for Monday, Tuesday, but a big cool down. 80 on Monday, 68 for the high on Tuesday, 40% chance of rain for those 2 days. Then the rain chances drop down and we'll hover in the upper 60s, gradual clearing heading into Wednesday and Thursday. All right, so we talked about this. Obviously, another round of storms moving through the Piedmont. That was overnight and into the morning. Severe weather, it's just as bad for the wildlife as it is for us. One lady discovered this firsthand and is now trying to help and rescue a baby hawk, of all things. Take a look.
You guys may remember this little guy, Buck, from a couple of weeks ago when a Summerfield family found this little bird blown out of his nest after the storms, and they nursed him back to health. By the way, they did release him and he is fine. So guess what? The same thing happened again, but with a different bird and a different person. We're joined by Gray today. And Gray, you tell us the story and what you have in that little box with you there.
Okay, so yesterday my daughter came in and said, "Mommy, you have to come outside and look at this bird." And I went out there, and what I saw was actually what appeared to be a ball of fluff on the ground. And I looked at it and looked up and realized that about 40 feet above me was a red-tailed hawk's nest. And this little baby had fallen through a hole in the nest, and the parents were up there trying to fix the nest. The raptor folks that I have been speaking with have strongly encouraged me to put the bird back in its nest.
So in the meantime, can you, because the story that we ran the other day of the same thing, storms blew a bird out of the nest, they fed him and kind of nursed him back, but you said with this type of bird you can't do that.
Right. I was instructed to create a little nest and to put some kind of a small stuffed animal in it so that the bird would have a friend, so to speak. And then basically keep him warm and check him every 2 hours. I was told not to feed it or give it water because this type of bird might aspirate on water especially.
Well, Gray, best of luck. I hope we can help in some way, and keep us updated. Let us know what happens eventually.
So I am happy to report, and we did not have time to get the video edited and posted, but she sent me, she texted me some videos. She called around, tried to get some help because that's like 4 stories above her, right, that nest. She finally got a landscaping company, like a tree service, Compton, I believe was the name of the company, to come in and do it. They got the bird back in the nest, and it looks like, at least for now, everything's good. Thank goodness.
Oh my goodness. Chilton, how do you find these stories?
This one was handed to me on a platter, but I tell you, it had a great ending. I didn't know what was going to happen because I thought the mother wouldn't take the baby bird back, but she said in this type of, I guess it's like a raptor type bird with a hawk, she said it's different. They will take him back.
Right, that was my concern, Eric, because my sister who lives in Texas, they've been having, I won't call them problems, but they've been seeing regular occurrences of baby birds appearing in their yard. You know, it's that time of the year. And when they fall out of the nest, they're worried about touching them, especially without gloves on, because the mom, we've heard, rejects them, but not in this case.
Yeah, not in this case. That's what she said, and I'm so happy to hear that. So we'll keep posting. I'll have her just text me every now and again and make sure he's doing okay, but it's a cool story.
Such a cute little bird. And the stuffed animal, it's over the top. So cute. All right, well, speaking of rescues, it is National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day. A great day. We ask you on Facebook to share your photos with us of your adopted pets. So Brian Bennett is live from his home this afternoon. Good to see you, Brian. Let's see some of those pictures.
Yeah, Maddie, I'm not even going to say anything because the pictures are that great, all right? So let's dive right on in. We're going to kick things off with the duo here. This is Bellatrix and Azazel. They were both adopted in October from the Guilford County Animal Shelter. Moving right along, man, this guy's already ready for his close-up bow tie and all. Check him out. Alice says, life is better with our sweet boy. And this is Marley, Coco, and Piper, all adopted from area shelters. Jane says, shelter pets rock. I'm trying to figure out how she got them all to pose. That's like a perfect pose right there. They should probably get into modeling. And this is Snowy. He got his name, obviously, because his fur. This was sent in from Tony and Tina Jones. And lastly, I couldn't end this without giving a shout out to Lily Mae, styling and profiling. This was sent in from Julia Edmonds.
Who Wants to Know is getting all the money questions. For instance, Brenda asked, will people who owe money to the IRS get the stimulus check?
Regardless if you owe taxes to the state or to the federal government, you will not be required, or you won't be reduced on your stimulus payment. Which is important for folks to know because even for folks that are behind on their student loan payments, they're still going to be entitled to the full stimulus payment without any reductions.
All right, so that's one question down, but then we got a question about this letter right here.
Okay, Tanya, you're really far away with this social distancing. I can't really see what that is.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I bet the folks in the control room can probably help us with that, right? Okay. How's this?
Oh, yeah,
better.
That's better. Okay, so now I see it's about the stimulus payment, and that's the one that's signed by the president.
That's correct. Okay, it's a few folks thought it was an attempt by a scammer when they got this in the mail, but it's not. We take a closer look at it tonight at 6 o'clock, and we're answering more of your questions tonight. Ask your questions by texting them to 336-379-5775. We have 4 lawyers with us tonight talking about your questions on landlord issues, family law, employment, workers' comp, up, wills and estates.
Hello, my 7 mic check. Frozen. Mic check. Are we still frozen? Huh. Better? Mic check.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Look at some regional temperatures here to see what's happening. 64 degrees in the Triad. You're looking at 66 in Raleigh. Boone is at 49. It is chilly up in the mountains, that's for sure. Maximum wind gust today, it was blustery at times, wasn't it? We're looking at 33 miles per hour in Greensboro, 25 in Reidsville. Now, some of that, obviously most of that, a direct results of the front that moved through and caused some problems overnight. Our low tonight will be 48. That means you'll see that tomorrow morning usually, about the time you're waking up or heading out probably, if you do get to go anywhere. 64 degrees tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies. We can't rule out an isolated shower at any time, although it'll be very light and scattered at best, or at worst, we could say. That's for today, tonight, tomorrow. Now, tomorrow after that, 64 degrees, gradual clearing. The weekend's beautiful. Sunny, 75 Saturday, 83 on Sunday. Are you kidding me? It's beautiful. 80 on Monday, but rain moves in Monday, second half of the day. And there's a 40% chance of showers, we think, Monday and Tuesday. Markedly cooler on Tuesday with that high of 68. And we'll hover in the upper 60s, which is a little bit below normal. We should be in the mid 70s this time of the year, but we'll hover around 68 for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Rain chances still in Tuesday at a 40%, but by Wednesday we take that down to a 20% and really some clearing on Thursday. And even though we're a little below normal, it seems very comfortable. So the sweet spot is perfect because it's our weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and part of the day Monday. We'll see temperatures at or a good bit above normal.
Weekend looking great. Thanks, Jilly. Well, coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, Triad City leaders and plumbers are concerned about people flushing things like disposable wipes and paper towels down the toilet. The problems a shortage of toilet paper are causing. That's next on WFMY News 2 at 5.
Hey, check 1, 1, 2, 3. Am I still frozen? Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Yay!
Work has looked a lot different for many of us as we battle the coronavirus, but what if you were maybe starting a new job? WFMY News 2's Amanda Ferguson tells us what a new football coach is going through.
Stepping into a new job can be hard as it is, let alone under social distancing. Page High School hired a new football coach back in January. Now, he was supposed to get together with his team and have his first spring practice, but now that'll have to wait. Doug Robertson used to coach at Thomasville before coming over to Page. This will be his 22nd season as a football coach, and so far, it's unlike any season he's had. He met his new players back in January, but now he has to talk to them through the screen. He says it's been challenging to do with the new team. Coach is just trying to stay positive during this time.
It's tough. The advantage I had a little bit over maybe somebody that got hired during the pandemic is I was able to get hired in January, which allowed me to have 3 months to put a name with a face. We didn't get a lot of the scheme stuff. We did a lot of working out and weight training and conditioning, but we didn't get a lot of the stuff as far as scheme. So that's kind of, we're behind in that. So that's obviously a worry for a new coach coming in. I guess I should feel a little fortunate of what we do have, and we just try to go from there and be positive. We miss the kids, and not having that is a big void in your life.
Coach says his team, his guys are just doing weightlifting right now. Hopefully they can get out there in the summer and get that practice in as a team together.
Amanda, thank you. Well, apps are being developed right now that would let scientists track COVID-19. Officials say one of the hurdles we need to jump before we can reopen the economy is tracing. And these apps say they do just that by tracking where people with COVID-19 are and who they come into contact with. So I asked you on my Facebook page if you'd use an app like this. And most people said absolutely not. But Jamie Kilby said probably, as long as what else they could use it was limited and if I could turn it off. If it's to enforce stay-at-home orders or the data can be used for other stuff, I'd rather stick with old-fashioned human discussions. But Margaret Hyatt said no way, everyone that has the virus isn't being tested. Also, they say someone can carry the virus for 2 weeks before they know they have it. I don't think there is really any way to know for sure how many people have it or even track it. Eric Ayers said no, absolutely not. While we must exercise caution, we must preserve our freedoms. And Sam said not unless I knew it detected the virus on an actual person. Otherwise, I'm already social distancing, wearing a mask, and washing up and disinfecting ridiculously. He ended with LOL. Okay, so these apps, Eric, they would trace or track where people have been and if they've been exposed to the virus, and then it would notify you if you've been close to someone who tested positive.
Yeah, I would not have a problem with that at all, just so I would know. But and it's voluntary, right? People can decide whether they want to actually enable that on their phones or whatever. So it's not to me that's not that big of a deal. I would do it, but I'm super cautious. When all this starts to lift, I'm going to be slow going to get back out in it again.
Yeah, and the state government is now saying they are hiring people to trace this virus throughout the state so that we can know where people who are positive have been and who they've come in contact with, because that's one of the ways if we can contain that, we can start to slowly and safely reopen things. All right, we are headed to break, but when we come back, Eric Chilton shares his 2 cents. Don't miss it.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together. Hi there, 1, 2, 3. It depends on numbers leveling off or decreasing. Health leaders say I'm walking toward the studio.
Hello, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Hello, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mic check 1, 2, out with the old, in with the new. Wake Forest announced they are hiring a new head
I'm bored. 2 words that strike fear in the quarantine parent. Now, we usually only have to deal with this in the summer, right? Not this year. And oftentimes parents try to come up with activities. Quick, I gotta stop little Sally from driving me crazy. I know, I hear it from my little ones too. So I went to the all-knowing, all-seeing internet, and guess what? I actually read a few articles. So listen, child psychologists say boredom is good. Now, I know what you're saying. They're gonna drive me nuts if I say go figure this out, but listen. Psychologists pointed to the countless studies and they came up with a few takeaways. Boredom actually improves creativity. They sharpen their logic skills. So they say if I take tab A, put it in slot B, this happens, it's fun. Boredom also improves mental well-being. When we are bored, we reflect on life's moments and we become more centered, even kids. Parents, listen to this one. You cannot be the answer. I'm talking to myself here too. We won't be there forever, and you're crippling your kids if you don't push them to find a solution. Guess what? That helps them in their work life and personal life later on because they got to figure it out themselves. And lastly, they say it's good for the parents. Yes, if you let go and let them figure it out, it reduces stress, which kids pick up on. How about that? The bottom line, take that step back, let them go. Well, let's be honest, make them go. You'll thank yourself in the long run. And that's just my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.